City from the Etihad. I'm your host, Toby Gillis. Alongside me, the former Manchester City defender, Kit Symons. This is Premier League Live. Let's quickly remind you of the team news before kick-off. Manchester City, 2 changes from their last Premier League game on Monday against Wolves. Gabriel Jesus and John Stones, both injured, not in the squad at all. Ederson starts for Manchester City. Kyle Walker, Eric Garcia, he's one of the changes coming in at centre-half, alongside Nathan Ake and Benjamin Mendy. Then Rodri and Fernandinho. Riyad Mahrez also comes in to face his old side, alongside Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling and Phil Foden. 2 changes for Leicester from their last Premier League game against Burnley a week ago. Wilfred Ndidi is injured. Jose Perez drops to the bench. Johnny Evans and Daniel Amati, for his first Premier League appearance in 23 months, come in. They also changed the system. 3 at the back, Kasper Schmeichel in goal. Back 3, Daniel Amati, Chalas Soyuncu, Johnny Evans. Right and left, Timothy Castagna and James Justin. Nampalys Mendy, Dennis Pratt, Yuri Tielemans, and then Jamie Vardy and Harvey Barnes up front. It'll be Manchester City that get us underway, shooting from left to right in this empty Etihad, in their light blue jerseys, white shorts, blue socks, and it's the very, very dark maroon for Leicester, their changed kit. Eric Garcia has got a head protection on today, having missed the Wolves game with a head problem, so he has to play with something that was made famous really by Petr Cech, one of those caps. And so far Manchester City yet to give away possession. Michael Oliver, the referee. And well, really, Kit, this is typical. Manchester City will be allowed to have the ball as much as they want, and Leicester, almost harking back to their 2016 triumph, it's can they do a lot with very little ball.
That's right, expecting Leicester just to drop right off exactly as they are, a back 5, solid 4 in front of them, and Jamie Vardy even dropping quite deep, just to make them nice and solid, soak up the pressure, frustrate Man City, and then look to become a little bit more inventive, if you like, in the second half. That, I'm sure, would be the game plan. Ake
with a good challenge there to win the ball back for City, but it wouldn't quite stick with De Bruyne, and a high crossfield ball from right to left for Leicester. Harvey Barnes will definitely be offside eventually, but of course they play these things out nowadays before the flag goes up. It finally has, and it's a free kick to Manchester City. A silly, silly rule in my book. Not when you're as clear as day offside like Barnes was there. He was trying to bend his run, but it was 2 or 3 yards, and in that thin strip of sunshine down the middle of the pitch, the free kick for Manchester City, who have Nathan Ake in possession, his second Premier League appearance for his new club. Chelsea to Bournemouth to Manchester City. Where have I heard Chelsea to Manchester City before? Oh yeah, Kevin De Bruyne. He'd be doing all right if he had a similar career to him, I think.
Just wonder if Nathan Ake is going to be having a new centre-half partner soon. Obviously, a lot of talk that Ruben Dias is coming into Manchester today, so supposedly, so that could be an interesting one. And Otamendi going the other way.
Wait to see. Here's Walker with I think that was intended as a high ball, but it rolled into Sterling anyway. Now Rodri trying to dink it over the right back. There's at that precise moment Dennis Pratt. He did get the header away, but City continue to attack, Manchester City that is, and De Bruyne with the ball in towards the left edge of the area, and Sterling and Marty heads behind. First corner of the game goes Manchester City's way.
So it looks, Toby, that the initial stages that Sterling is certainly going to be the more central of that front 4, if you like, for Manchester City, but as we said, I'm expecting that there will be, without doubt, a load of rotation throughout this game.
Manchester City 0, Leicester 0. Corner to Manchester City from the far side there left. There's the delivery. It's half cleared by Justin, only as far as Mahrez. Oh wow! What a way to mark your 200th appearance in the Premier League against your old side. An absolute rocket on the half volley, smashed into the top corner. If the net hadn't stopped it, it would have ended up in orbit. What a hit from Mahrez. Manchester City lead Leicester after less than 4 minutes. What a goal.
Absolute incredible strike, and that was his weaker right foot. I mean, he couldn't have hit it any better. Kasper Schmeichel had absolutely no chance, didn't even move, and there was absolutely no point. It was such a sweet strike, right into the postage stamp in the far corner of the goal. Unbelievable finish. The only thing from a Leicester point of view, you would look and he's a man on the edge of the box. He was left completely unmarked, but what a fantastic goal.
Wow. It really was just unstoppable.
So, Toby, we spoke about Leicester's game plan. That's just gone right out of the window. Plan B.
Yeah, well, what is Plan B? We wait and find out. Brendan Rodgers has never beaten Pep Guardiola as a coach, and frankly, they can't get the ball at the moment. Here's Walker attacking down the right-hand side for Manchester City to De Bruyne. Now it comes back down the line towards Mahrez. There was just a touch in there for Mendy, but given away, and Fernandinho mops up, gives it back to the goalkeeper, and Fernandinho a lot of the time seems to just turn it into a back three, doesn't he, when City are attacking, happy to cover because there's so much attacking width from Mendy and Walker. Mendy at the moment trying to cross, he comes back to him, that's not the best from Mendy, and he tried to pass it back to Foden, straight into touch over on the far side. 5 gone, Manchester City 1, Leicester City 0. Leicester have won both of their games so far this season.
I think there were so many times last year when the Manchester City defence was called into question that Pep's really conscious this year of having those two holding midfielders, Fernandinho and Rodri, sitting there nice and solid, nice and tight.
But now the run for Vardy down the right hand side looked like he was going to get in there, but of course you always see then Ederson has got such an advanced starting position, hasn't he, that he came quickly out of his area and cleared it away.
Yeah, he's certainly not shy in coming out and mopping up and playing that sweeper keeper role.
It's like 3 defensive midfielders, really, isn't it? As we see the goal again, I can't believe that strike. He won't hit that ball cleaner in the rest of his career, I wouldn't have thought.
And like I say, that's his weaker foot as well. That's his right foot, remember. Incredible.
Wonderful goal. De Bruyne coming up to the halfway line, inside left, spreading it in front of Kyle Walker out on the right hand side, up against James Justin, turning him inside out. Justin's defended that really well, the former Luton man, and he gets a slide tackle in. Out of play, it goes throw in near side. Straight
away, just in his opening 6 or so minutes, Toby, Kyle Walker's been so advanced and really looking to bomb on. Mahrez is coming in field and he's just exploiting that space that he leaves and really getting forward to great effects.
Who needs a striker, eh? When you've got someone that can strike it like they have. Nathan Ake, 10 yards inside the Leicester half. 1-0 to Manchester City. At TalkSport Live, if you'd like to get in touch with us, give us your thoughts on this one. I always felt that Mahrez came in and never quite looked initially like he was up to that Manchester City standard, but boy has he proven me wrong. He's a serious footballer.
I mean, I saw an interview with him in the week, and his stats are obviously very good since he's been at Man City, but he's bemoaning not getting enough game time, wants to play all the time, and he said my stats will be better, give me more football, more time on the pitch, my stats will be even better.
Yeah, his statistics so far, 57 goals, that was his 58th Premier League goal in 200 appearances, now 40 assists, 139 of those games were for Leicester, 39 goals, that's his 19th for Manchester City in this his 61st Premier League game for them. That might get given away to De Bruyne. No, they just about got to Charles Soyuncu, who is the left of the 3 centre-halves. Soyuncu with the ponytail to Tielemans. That's back to Kasper Schmeichel. Hasn't made a save yet, but he has been beaten.
Well, I think we asked what Plan B might be, Toby, and I would think possibly if this stays anything like the same or gets worse.
Well, that flick back by Garcia, and just for a moment I thought there was going to be a bit of confusion there between Kyle Walker and the goalkeeper, but Ederson took control with Barnes lurking, gives it to Fernandinho, and now here's Ake again.
It wasn't convincing at all from Garcia there, so they're looking to obviously use Jamie Vardy's pace, get him behind over the top and look to turn that Manchester City back 4, and Yeah, Garcia wasn't overly convincing on that occasion, that's for sure.
What do you think is his first choice centre-back pairing this season? I mean, assuming that a transfer isn't made, and we can't be certain of that at this stage.
I think it's got to be, Laporte and Ake has got to be the starting two. By all accounts, it sounds like Otamendi could be part of any deal if they bring in another top-class centre-half, which we're talking about now. If it is Ruben Dias coming in, then it'd be interesting to see which two out of the three play.
High ball out to the left-hand side to Mendy. That one just went underneath the foot of Kevin De Bruyne as it came flashing towards him. If that happens, does that suggest that Ake was actually... I'll ask you this in a moment, because De Bruyne down the right-hand side tries to get the cross in, comes out to Fernandinho via a deflection. His shot is blocked. Harvey Barnes will come away with it for Leicester. Moves it down the left foot. Justin, he's asking way too much of Harvey Barnes. Two City players come to cover. Kyle Walker mops up, gives it to the goalkeeper. So let me now ask you that question. Does that suggest, perhaps, if they sign another centre-half, that Ake was actually signed as a left-back?
I'd be surprised. I mean, he's still got Mendy, Zinchenko, but
it's the one position he's never fully convinced, is it?
Spent a lot of money on it.
All Sterling's gone forward, just
clipped Johnny Evans as he went through. So clear foul.
Yeah, he has spent a lot of money on it, hasn't he?
Awful lot of money on fullbacks, and again, they not really that convincing, certainly down that left-hand side. But I think Ake could certainly play then. I'm not overly convinced by Mendy or Zinchenko for that matter at times. So if he does sign Ruben Dias, Laporte and Ake as a left back, I wouldn't mind that at all.
It changes the way he uses his fullbacks though, because Ake is not a flying wing fullback, is he? In the way that Mendy would be, in the way that Walker is on the other side, Joao Cancelo, those types. He would be a very different sort of fullback for Guardiola to try.
I mean, in my opinion, Mendy does get forward, but I sometimes question the actual quality then when he's in those forward areas. Some of his deliveries, his crossing, not always as good as it possibly should be. So you can quite comfortably play a little bit lopsided, with your right back like Kyle Walker or Cancelo bombing forward, and the left back bit sort of half and half almost. And in fact, in some ways, that will make you a little bit more solid against the counter-attack, which has always been a bit of a Man City problem.
Yeah, Manchester City not having too many problems at the moment though. 1-0 up against Leicester. We do know about their counter. They can break quick as a flash if they get the opportunity to. Here's Ake though. Leicester starting so deep. Jamie Vardy's 20 yards inside his own half. Mahrez scuffs an attempted pass to Raheem Sterling. Johnny Evans gets it back to Kasper Schmeichel. Towards Vardy it goes, bounces beyond him. Fernandinho touches it back to Garcia. Ake under a bit of pressure from Vardy. Uses the goalkeeper Edis.
Yeah, like you say, dropping so deep, Leicester, trying to be very, very compact, not allow Manchester City to play through them, not really looking to turn them at this stage, keeping fairly high line as well, Leicester, not really looking to turn them at this stage. And with that, Ake plays a long ball forward, but it's central, and Raheem Sterling's not going to win too many headers up against this big back three.
No, it's not something that City ever really do, is it, with Aguero or Jesus? It's much more intricate than that usually. I'm sure Ake will learn the ways of Manchester City over his time at the club. Walker high up on the right hand side. Fernandinho into Rodri.
The wide players for Manchester City are coming infield to make that Leicester back five become very, very narrow.
Yeah. And
both fullbacks at this stage, Mendy and Kyle Walker, are literally playing up against the back line, but very, very wide, looking to get in at every opportunity.
Fernandinho will spread it wide to Mendy. Now, what's his quality like? Just as Kit was saying, not the best, but it has been won high up by Rodri, who drives high over the crossbar.
Yeah, that was exactly my point, Toby. He's an athlete. He's a really, really good athlete. But I think since he had a bad time with injuries when he first came to the club, and I think he struggled to get going since then and reach the levels maybe he previously was at. I think his confidence has been knocked a little bit, and he just doesn't produce that top quality that you expect from from Manchester City. And you know, when you've got the likes of De Bruyne and Sterling in the side with you, you need someone in that position who's got top quality.
Schmeichel in the sunshine smacks that one away. Rodri wins it, but it comes only for Pratt. Now here over on the far side is Amati. Now to the near side from Schmeichel towards Justin over here. And Brendan Rodgers looks really furious that one's gone out for a throw in. Such a waste of possession when you get so little of it. 14 nearly up. Aymeric Laporte watching on, closing in on fitness. He is on the bench today, actually. Manchester City's bench. He's pretty weak by their standards. Zach Steffen, the American goalkeeper, made his debut in the Cup in the week. Alexander Zinchenko, Aymeric Laporte, Ferran Torres. Then it's Liam Delap, Tommy Doyle and Cole Palmer. I mean, you know, practically unheard of, these players to anyone but the most hardcore of Manchester City players and fans. Manchester City again delivering up to the edge of the area. The Leicester bench: Danny Ward, the goalkeeper, Christian Fuchs, Hamza Chowdhury, James Maddison, Michael Brightner, Jose Perez and Kelechi Iheanacho, formerly of this parish.
So you look at the two benches, and the Leicester bench is by far the more experienced, the stronger bench. But the starting 11s,
well, not one of them gets in the City team, even at this level of weakness, do they? That bench?
No. And the City starting 11, like I said, they've got a few injuries, as we know, but it's such a strong starting 11. I mean, I still look at that central defence. Obviously, Aki's come in, and he'll be a very good player for the club. Garcia will be replaced either by a fit Laporte or a new centre-half coming in at some stage.
We've just been asked by Bill Boyd, who's got in touch and says hello to us both. He's at work across the pond in New Hampshire. He says, even though Manchester City are strong offensively, do you think Guardiola would struggle to make any replacements with the limited bench today? Well, I mean, look, he might not need the bench, might he, at this rate?
No, exactly. But I mean, he's always, don't forget, he's got the two holding midfield players who have both played centre half as well. So if he's not sure about Laporte's fitness and doesn't want to risk him, maybe he can always. Listen, we've already stated in open play, in normal play, sometimes one of those two holding midfield players, Fernandinho normally, will go and sit between and almost make a back three anyway.
He's got high hopes for Liam Delap as well, I believe, who scored on his debut in the Cup in the week against good Championship opposition in Bournemouth, and has got a couple of goals already in the EFL Trophy, where Manchester City's under-23s are represented. So he is a threat, the 17-year-old, who would, if he played today, become the 5th youngest, I believe, Manchester City Premier League player.
And he's something, even when they've got a fully fit squad, he's something very different to what they've got. His young Liam Delap, he's more a physical presence, more a traditional.
You must have played against his dad, did you?
I know Rory well, yeah. I do, yeah. He's a fantastic lad, and listen, what he will do certainly is keep Liam very, very grounded and give him excellent advice, because Rory's a top fella and a real good guy, and was a great pro himself.
Famed for his throw, of course.
He was a good player as well as that, but certainly most known.
Here comes Mahrez, slips in, Sterling doesn't quite get the power on it that he wanted, as Schmeichel drops to his left-hand side and makes a pretty comfortable save and claims it as well.
Yeah, Kevin De Bruyne does absolutely fantastic there. He's on the ground, he gets up, he spins the ball inside. Mahrez links up really well with Sterling. Sterling's shot is a little bit tame, and towards the near post of Kasper Schmeichel made it quite an easy save, but really good play. And although they've got a lot of bodies back, Leicester, and they're very compact and very narrow on the edge of their box, some of the City link-up play and the intricacy of it is incredible. 20
goals in the Premier League for Raheem Sterling last season. That is some statistic for a man who was given his first Liverpool start under Brendan Rodgers in time before he arrived at Manchester City. Has gone on to become a world performer.
Just back to that last opening, the balance and the strength of Kevin De Bruyne was fantastic to see. Like I say, he's on the floor, he gets up, he's holding his man off, and he still plays an accurate pass. Fantastic.
Not the most accurate pass out to the left-hand side by Manchester City there, but the second ball's being won by them every single time at the moment. And I guess the concern for Pep Guardiola with the injuries is not necessarily today, it's just the build-up of matches. So right now they're still relatively fresh as Nampalys Mendy gives the ball away to Kyle Walker. Now Raheem Sterling. De Bruyne. I'd love to see the number of touches Leicester have had in the Manchester City half. It's probably, if it's reached 5, I'd be amazed. De Bruyne playing in that quarterback role. The pass is overhit through to the goalkeeper.
As you say, Toby, the game has pretty much been played in the Manchester City final third. All the Leicester players, even Jamie Vardy, dropping right off into that area, very, very tight and compact, but just allowing Man City really easy position.
Schmeichel taking his time over this clearance away to our right-hand side. Goalkeeper today, and always really for Leicester, to play 11 times for Manchester City. Where his dad also came towards the end of his career. Of course, much more of a legend across Manchester. Here's Fernandinho. Now Garcia. Fernandinho's got runners making their way forward. He spots the ball out to Mendy again. Mendy being closed down by the Leicester number 27, Timothy Castagne. Went one step further in the Champions League than Manchester City did, Castagne, with Atalanta. Lost rather agonisingly in the quarter-finals to the eventual beaten finalist Paris Saint-Germain. Manchester City going out to Lyon.
Actually, really clever foul there. So Man City had a decent possession, and Kyle Walker, we spoke about the two fullbacks playing very, very high, and they're always the ball that's on for Manchester City. And Kyle Walker, ball not great into him, stretched a little bit, gave it away, and they looked to counter Leicester, albeit from very deep. And Mahrez just gave a very, very clever little foul, just a little tug on Tielemans, just to stop the play and let City get back into their shape.
That is a feature of Pep Guardiola, isn't it? There's no argument. He will deny it publicly all day long, but he loves a tactical foul.
For me, that's clever play, though. You know, it's not necessarily part of the beautiful game, but if you want to win things, that's what you've got to do.
Now Leicester might be able to break. There's a man over actually in Harvey Barnes on this near side, and it's 2-on-2. Barnes, he's allowed Garcia to make the tackle, and Ederson can't quite prevent the corner, but there were men over there for Leicester, and that's the threat that Manchester City will have to be aware of when they've got such high fullbacks.
Well, they're all over the place there, Man City, and that's where you would expect Rodri or Fernandinho. They both got completely split, the two holding midfield players, and offering no protection at all. He ended up doing very well, Garcia, because Harvey Barnes is not someone you really want running at you going into your own box, but Garcia defended it well, giving away a corner.
It's going to be taken by Tielemans. Short one to Justin. Justin delivers straight into the arms of Ederson. Pretty in pink, Ederson today. And he's bowled out to De Bruyne. Runs at pace. Tielemans tries one of those tactical fouls. De Bruyne was very nearly too strong, even though he had both arms wrapped around him, but he finally pulled him back, and he gets a yellow card for his troubles as well, does Tielemans.
I think that was more a rugby tackle than a tactical foul, to be honest, but he's just so strong. I think we all talk about his craft and guile, Kevin De Bruyne, but he's so quick and powerful as well, and Tielemans was literally grabbing hold of him and being dragged along to try and stop him. He's such a sublime athlete, as well as being an incredibly bright, intelligent footballer.
Garcia out to the right hand side for Walker. That's been a warning then for Manchester City. 1-0 they lead, midpoint of the first half, bang on that right now actually, thanks to the goal inside 4 minutes from Riyad Mahrez punishing his former side. Foden's been quiet so far, just saw a quick little 1-2 with Mendy. Garcia now to the right for Kyle Walker. Light blue shirts move towards the 18-yard box. Now intricate passing between between De Bruyne and Sterling. Quite work out, and then Tielemans with a good few touches. The Belgian who reached the 3rd/4th playoff with Belgium in the World Cup 2018 alongside De Bruyne. And his side are struggling to contain his compatriots.
Just see Sancho on the ball there and looking to play it out. It didn't have a pass on at all. Man City players pressing very high at the pitch, swarming all over him. Now, unless they can break that initial press, they're in a bit of trouble, Leicester. But
Kyle Walker on the right with the cross is blocked.
You say if they can break it, then they can be on for the counter.
Yeah, well, we've seen it once, haven't we? Yeah. And it really was a proper opportunity.
Well, it was, and like I said, I quite fancied Harvey Barnes against Garcia at that stage, but ended up defending it well.
Swept it away from him, didn't he? He's in possession at the moment, the young Spaniard Garcia, linked so heavily with a move to Barcelona. He's got a year left on his contract. Pep Guardiola spoke in the summer. He is not going to sign a new one. I just wonder whether, with the turmoil at Barcelona, should they have another season like that this year? I just wonder whether the attraction might still be at Manchester City, even for a Catalan youngster who goes down under a challenge by Jamie Vardy. Free kick, Manchester City.
I think he'll be waiting and looking more keenly than anyone as to who walks in the door in this transfer window.
Got plenty of potential. No doubt Pep really likes him. He would be a mainstay in this team, I think, for quite some time if they could get him to sign. Almost could probably prevent the signing of a centre-half if he just signed a new contract.
But I think that's obviously what's playing into Pep's thinking as well. I mean, I think they do need to strengthen there anyway.
Yeah.
But obviously with him...
De Bruyne's free kick in towards Fernandinho, straight at the goalkeeper. Just a little bit behind him. He had to really reach his head back, stretch those neck muscles. Got a decent contact on it in the end as he got away from a Marty at the back post, but couldn't quite guide it either side of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was a very good ball in, but like you say, it was slightly behind him, which makes it so difficult. If that had been just even a couple of inches further forward, he would have been able to guide that across the keeper.
Here's the ball that they want to Vardy, turns it on to Justin. He's got it back across the 18-yard box. He should have hit it. Vardy was onto it. His touch let him down a little bit, but it actually worked into a perfect through ball towards Justin. And Leicester on the break do look a little bit dangerous there. The pass to Vardy was perfect. You expected him to take it on, have a shot on goal, but Justin didn't just have the faith in himself to hit it on his left foot. He scored his first goal for the club in the Premier League last week, but it hasn't given him the confidence to go for goal there.
It's another really good opportunity for Leicester, which they haven't taken. And again, Manchester City are getting dragged all over the place defensively. So it's poor defending from them, and the setup, the shape's not great.
Mahrez crosses the ball in. Evans from the edge of the 6-yard box away towards Barnes. Got an awful long way to go, even to get to the halfway line. Closed down by Foden. Pratt now, and that's over on the far side with Castagna.
So I do think Brendan Rodgers will obviously be very disappointed with conceding a goal from a set piece, second face from a corner. But the last 5 minutes or so give him great confidence.
As the ball goes into the 6-yard box, a little bit too close from De Bruyne to the goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel. Certainly hope for Leicester, absolutely no doubt. There's Schmeichel with a high overarm throw out. Walker with a little nudge on his opposite number, Justin. And it's a free kick for Leicester.
Certainly both teams going forward look very dangerous, both in very different ways. Leicester on the counter-attack, where Man City have good possession, commit players high at the pitch, then they look to break, and Man City, like I say, do get dragged across. I mean, that last occasion, both centre-halves are sort of dragged over to the Leicester right-hand side of the pitch, and Garcia gets done by a ball into Jamie Vardy. He's got to stay away and mark his striker.
Is Justin to Tielemans, and he went down the line to Barnes, who's got a slightly different role to usual today as really a foil for Vardy, he's won his team a throw. Now it's with Pratt, bit of space out on the right hand side. What's the Leicester cross like from Castagna? Low, away by Ake from the edge of his 6-yard box, picked up by Amati just shy of the halfway line. Soyuncu. Now Leicester with some bodies forward in the Manchester City half. Harvey Barnes to James Justin. Barnes left hand side, thought about the ball into Vardy, instead short back to Tielemans. To the right for Amati.
I think you mentioned about 10 minutes or so, Toby, about Phil Foden. I can't remember him having a touch.
Hardly had a touch. Really very few. Soyuncu just inside his own half, left side of the centre circle. Back to Evans. Evans, it's a complete miss hit. Passed it to Pep Guardiola on the sidelines. Throw into Manchester City. Brendan Rodgers, animated in his technical area. Jamie Vardy, should he get a chance, away from home, is in blistering form at the moment. 12 goals in his last 13, and we've already talked about his record against Manchester City, who have given Leicester the ball here. Evans will safely go back to the goalkeeper.
We just said about Phil Foden not having a touch. He had one and then gave it straight away with a square pass. So he needs to pull his socks up a little bit, Foden, at the moment. He's not having the best of times at the minute.
Manchester City's home record recently has been outstanding. They've won their last 9 in all competitions, unbeaten in 11 Premier League home games, haven't been beaten here in 2020, conceded just 1 goal in their last 7 Premier League home games. They've actually led by 2 or more goals at half-time in each of their last 6 home Premier League games. So if they can keep that record up, and there's another one to come before the break, which is just a shade over quarter of an hour away. We've had Ishak Swaru, listening from Ibadan, Nigeria, get in touch with us at TalkSport Live. He says it's going to finish Manchester City 4, Leicester 2. Well, from a neutral point of view, we'd take it.
We'll take that, yeah.
And a photo's come in from DJ Keefe. I don't know quite where he is. He says, let's go Vardy, beat City. He's also an Arsenal fan, so that's still to play. But a photo of the most kitted out boat I've ever seen. He's listening in, some sort of speedboat. He says he's got 4 speakers and he's listening to his favourite commentary on at TalkSport Live. That is some shot. I'll show you that later, Kit.
Please do, yeah, look forward to that.
If you are listening in some unusual place, do send us your photos to at TalkSport Live on Twitter. Foden's just had a touch. Foden klaxon will need. So few have his touches been. Suggestion at the moment that they might be about to increase his wage. For a 20-year-old, it's not bad to be on £30,000 a week. But he's going to go up to somewhere like around 100 to 120,000, I think. Which, well, I'd take that for a year, personally. It'd be very nice. Here's Garcia. Just wonder if some of his behaviour more recently on international duty suggests, is he quite mature enough for that sort of cash? Maybe it's irrelevant, I don't know. Here's Fernandinho, 15 yards inside the Leicester half, worked it out to Walker. Did Justin get a touch on that one? The referee, Michael Oliver, says yes. Throw in for Manchester City. Michael Oliver took charge of more Premier League games than any other ref last season. He's hoping for an easier one to referee than one in particular, the Aston Villa Sheffield United infamous game, where the goal line technology let him down, finished 0-0, despite Sheffield United scoring a perfectly good goal. Not Michael Oliver's fault, we should add. Ake. Every single Manchester City player bar the goalkeeper is in Leicester's half. It's out to the right hand side for Walker. De Bruyne makes the run towards the byline, gets the cross in, and Marty clears from the edge of his 6-yard box behind for the corner.
Yeah, it's good defending in the end. It was a good run and a good ball in from De Bruyne. You fancy there. Phil Foden just takes a bit more of a gamble, and I think he's sort of shaking his head after the event because he's held just outside the 6-yard box.
Here's Walker, easily away from Tielemans. His cross though hits just in. Picked up by the goal scorer Riyad Mahrez. 33 gone, still 1-0 to Manchester City. Tony Church has been in touch. He says it's going to end Manchester City 4, Leicester 5. And he expects Sterling to score a hat-trick. Again, from a neutral point of view, would take it. Ake flies in with the header. It bounces off the top of De Bruyne's head. I'm not sure he knew too much about it. Amati away. Garcia a little bit unorthodox in his touch that finds Rodri. Vardy closes him down, but he uses Mendy to his left, and here's Ake again. Under no real pressure.
Just sort of sense maybe Manchester City getting a little bit frustrated at the moment. We sort of spoke about Leicester's 5-4-1 shape sitting off and nullifying the space and the threat. So City need to keep the passing really slick, really quick, and not allow themselves to get frustrated, which can creep into the game, and then they'll start taking unnecessary chances and open themselves up to the counter even more. So it's difficult when you're so on top and so much possession to sometimes just keep your focus and your concentration and keep doing the right things.
Nice little 1-2 there between De Bruyne and Mahrez. Baffled Tielemans, who brought down Mahrez. There wasn't a booking, I'm not suggesting it was, but he does need to be careful as the only player that has been given a yellow so far. This free kick is a shade right of centre, 18-20 yards out from the edge of the 18-yard box. De Bruyne and Mahrez are over it. Mahrez runs past it. De Bruyne delivers in. There's the header. There's the goal from Rodri. 2-0 City. No, it's offside. Rodri flagged, and it was the perfect delivery, but not the perfect run from Rodri, who actually was probably 2 or 3 yards offside by the time the delivery was made. Good header. Keeper had no chance, but it won't count.
No, it was a really, really good header. And that's the exact header that Fernandinho wanted to do 10-15 minutes ago, but like I say, the ball was just slightly behind him from De Bruyne on that occasion. But that was a really good header, but it was clearly, as the ball was struck, a couple of yards offside. Brave line actually from Leicester. Very good defending from them.
I always think that's such a difficult one to make sure you get right, isn't it? Because if you do just stay high, you can be really embarrassed if the run is timed, when a player suddenly finds himself with the freedom of the city of Manchester in behind your defence.
Well, you can. He did actually come from a deeper position, yes. Rodri. So, you know, he's a little bit unlucky because he just went slightly too soon. But he was coming from deep, and as you say, Toby, they are very difficult to deal with. But Leicester on that occasion dealt with it very, very well.
Is Mendy. That's a lovely touch away from Fernandinho, and he's delivered it out to Barnes. Justin going outside of him. Barnes rides one challenge, slips in. Vardy's gone down behind Walker. Penalty to Leicester.
Yeah, very clear cut. Brilliant from Jamie Vardy. Gets inside Kyle Walker and he just tugs him. Stonewall penalty. Great run from Harvey Barnes though.
It was all started by a brilliant trick to get away from Fernandinho in the midfield as well by Mendy. But yeah, absolutely brilliant from Vardy. Now, the last time I commentated on Leicester, they got 2 penalties against West Brom, and Jamie Vardy scored them both. Remember, he has got 6 goals in his last 9 games against Manchester City. How he'd love to equalise at the City of Manchester Stadium right now, as Ederson is being reminded of his duties to stay on his line by Michael Oliver. Vardy stepping up to the left of the ball, focusing entirely on it, not a look towards the goal at all. He went both sides of the keeper against West Brom. Vardy against Ederson. Only one outcome, top corner, unstoppable. Manchester City 1, Leicester 1.
Yeah, great penalty, really, really well struck. Absolutely no chance at all for Ederson there. As you say, went to Ederson's top right. Ederson dived the right way, but the ball's right above his outstretched left hand. He's no chance of getting there. Too much pace on the ball. Very, very good penalty.
Didn't even look where he was going at any point, did he, Vardy? The technique, the power, the accuracy into the very top corner would have taken something absolutely sensational to stop that one. Probably nobody would have done. Brilliant.
Poor defending from Manchester City. You look at it, Cole Walker often relies on his pace to get him out of trouble, but when you're up against someone like Jamie Vardy, you need to be positionally correct, and he wasn't. He got the wrong side, and then Jamie Vardy's away. Now he's going slightly wide of the goal, so is he better off to let him go and take the chance?
I was going to say, as a defender, what do you do? Do you take the gamble with the penalty, or do you give them?
Well, I think they're on his left foot. It's happened so quick, but Jamie Vardy on his left foot, he's still a great finisher, but it would become a fairly tight angle.
Is that, as a defender, something though that goes through your mind, or have you not really got time for all of that information to play out in your head?
Well, it's one of them. Sometimes you can, and you can make the right decision, but other times it's instinct.
Yeah.
And on that Kyle Walker one, it was just instinct. He just gave his arm a tug, and it was a clear-cut penalty. It was his mistake. He got the wrong side, and he was desperately trying to make up for it, but he compounded it.
Kit Simons alongside me, Toby Gillis, for this from Manchester City 1, Leicester 1 here on Premier League Live. And Manchester City trying to respond to conceding that goal, but Johnny Evans in the way of the Kevin De Bruyne cross from the inside left. Throw in for Manchester City, which Mendy has gone on with quickly, giving it to Nathan Ake. Here's Fernandinho's ball in towards Foden, never reached him. Header away by Amati. Rodri back to Ake, hair flowing behind him as he runs up to it and delivers it carefully out to the left-hand side for Mendy. Now what's Foden got down by the corner flag? Comes back to De Bruyne. Foden with 2 goals so far this season for Manchester City in his 2 games. Fernandinho, won that easily away by Pratt to Castagna. His clearance doesn't beat Garcia. And you've got to say, on the balance, really, over the last sort of 10-15 minutes, Leicester probably deserved to be level, Kit.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, City would have dominated the possession, but football's not all about possession. On chances and opportunities, Leicester had a few. So I don't think Manchester City could have too many complaints, really. Leicester have, which we said about, would Brendan be happy with this shape, this formation? I think the back three have done quite well. I don't think there'll be any particular need for him to change it at the moment. I think he'll be quite pleased.
Fernandinho has it, 5 to go till the break. Garcia out to Mendy. Definitely missing something, Manchester City, at the moment. Mendy's pass up the line spins out of play, intended for Foden, doesn't reach it. And that was lovely skill, wasn't it, by Mendy, Nampalys Mendy, for the build-up to the penalty being given.
It was really good from Mendy. We spoke about, obviously, Ndidi being a huge miss, but Mendy's come in and done very well tonight. I've got to say, he's been very effective and had a big part in the goal. Excellent then from Harvey Barnes. And once Jamie Vardy gets the wrong side, Garcia committed, and the ball, Harvey Barnes slipped the ball down the side of him, in between him and Kyle Walker, and Jamie Vardy was away.
James Justin away from Fernandinho, just cuts inside, showed a little bit to the Brazilian again, and it gets caught under his feet, and Fernandinho nicks it off of him. And now Kevin De Bruyne running with the ball at his feet. He's so difficult to stop when he does that, but Johnny Evans does it well. Eye on the ball, put his foot in at the perfect time, took it away. Manchester City pick up the loose ball in the midfield. Rodri, tip of the centre circle, attacking tip to the left side for Mendy. Ake.
See, that's where Leicester will have to be careful, Toby, when they start to commit bodies forward, and then Man City can counter against them, and there's space for the likes of De Bruyne, Sterling to pick up the ball and run at them.
Foden back to Ake. It's a deflection off of Pratt as he plays it forward. Picked up on the far side by Castagna. Amati away. Now here's Tielemans into Barnes. Lovely first touch with his right foot, and he's up against Eric Garcia. Gets himself into the area. Garcia, you've got to say, twice now has been one-on-one with Barnes, and he's won it both times, and he's won a goal kick this time as well. Yeah,
he has. Barnes sort of is running, he's putting himself just on the back of Fernandinho and then running off of the back of him, and he's certainly got the legs on Fernandinho, and Garcia on both occasions has actually defended it very well, but it is a threat because Kyle Walker is so high up the pitch. That ball over the top there and down the side of Garcia is going to be on a lot for Leicester. And I say Harvey Barnes is a player I like an awful lot, and he's had two good opportunities to run it at the centre back and not really taken either of them as of yet. But he's a really good player. You think give him a third go, could be in trouble.
Carol has been in touch thanking us for keeping them company on a family road trip, expecting a Manchester City victory, with a photo of some countryside that looks like it goes on forever and ever and ever. It almost looks a bit British in some ways, but I'm sure it's not. Where are you, Carol? Tell us where you are. At TalkSport Live if you want to get in touch, photos or otherwise. Here's Tielemans, 10 yards shy of the halfway line. He's overhit that ball into the left-hand channel for Jamie Vardy. 2 to go till half-time. Manchester City 1, Leicester 1.
But again, that's the ball that's on all day long. You see Kyle Walker totally out of the picture. And Man City have got quite a high line. And if Jamie Vardy gets one-on-one with Garcia, like I say, Harvey Barnes has had 2 occasions and not capitalised yet. But if Jamie Vardy gets an opportunity, you expect him to take it.
Mendy plays the ball off of Pratt over on the far side. The thing about Leicester is they aren't half working hard. Wait to see if they can keep up this defensive shape.
Well, I say the one thing with it, Tubby, because they're dropping so deep and so compact, I don't think they're expending that much energy.
No,
to be honest.
They're narrow, aren't they?
Yeah,
they are narrow, moving as a unit. Very,
very narrow, and so it's not actually, like I say, using up that much energy. It's when you try and do that high press that Liverpool do with Klopp and things like that. That really expends your energy. That takes a lot out of you when the team's like pressing high at the pitch. Dropping off like this can be, a way of conserving energy almost.
De Bruyne, right edge of the area, moves it out to Mahrez, the Manchester City goal scorer. Back to Walker, now Ake, now on to Mendy. Can he get a good delivery from the left? Up against Pratt, loses the ball. Yet again, Kit Simons' suggestion earlier proving the case. You've got whatever the opposite of a commentator's curses today.
Oh dear. I want him to do well as well. Come on, Benjamin.
I think it's just called analysis is what you've done, Kit. You've watched him and you've done your job, basically. Here's Fernandinho to Walker. Seems to have moved a little bit more narrow in the last few minutes. Almost into central midfield right now, and he's staying there. Ake up to Sterling, trying to spin the ball into Foden. Got a bit of fortune, but then can't run past Castagna. Comes away with it. Checks, turns away from Foden, back to the edge of his 18-yard box to Evans. Now here can come Soyuncu. 1 minute of stoppage time announced. Soyuncu makes up an awful lot of ground, 30-40 yards to Justin left side of the 18-yard box, tries the cross, hits Walker, and that, I think, is a corner.
That was a real gallop out of defence by Soyuncu there. Really covered a lot of ground, got his team up the pitch. I think that the rest of his teammates will be very thankful for that from him.
We always have a lot of listeners from Ghana, and they'll be enjoying hearing Daniel Amati is playing again, including someone who calls himself North Kaneshi. Happy to see Amati back in action for Leicester. Corner comes in. Beat Jamie Vardy at the near post, but Fernandinho heads behind. Won't be time for that corner though, the second one. It's half time. Referee has blown his whistle, and it's been a half of two halves in many ways, as Manchester City took the lead inside 4 minutes with Riyad Mahrez's absolute thunderbolt as he picked up the loose ball from a corner. But Leicester stuck to their guns defensively and then started to create things, and Jamie Vardy, typical of him, slipping inside Walker, fouled for the penalty and then putting it into the top corner. A very, very intriguing first half, and it leaves us finally poised for the second. Manchester City 1, Leicester 1. You're listening to Premier League Live.
Your Sportsmat Sunday with TalkSport's latest super signing, Johnny Owen. Join critically acclaimed filmmaker and actor Johnny Owen for a brand new show dedicated to the culture of football. From retro terrace fashion,
great red card, oh dear,
yeah, and classic fan anthems.
What a hit!
To iconic films and game-changing books.
It's a thunderous belter!
Join Johnny Owen and co-host Mark Webster for a celebration of the cultural power of the beautiful game.
That could be the winner!
The unbeatable new weekend lineup just got better. Johnny Owen and Friends.
Big moment.
This morning from 9 on TalkSport.
Inject some high-octane, explosive entertainment into the post-apocalyptic wasteland that is your average Sunday. The warm-up with Mad Max Rushton on Talk Sport.
Actually, I'm not mad, just a bit tired.
He's the rebel weekend warrior, chained to the wheel of a souped-up juggernaut of sporting confrontation.
Actually, it's just a normal city car, 1.6 automatic.
2 hours of fuel-injected football fury that never runs out of gas, guts, or glory.
Guys.
Wheel spinning through the blasted badlands of your weekend like a demonic convoy from hell.
He clearly hasn't heard the show, has he?
The warm-up belongs to the Mad Max Rushton, this Sunday morning from 11.
Natalie Sawyer.
This morning from 10 on Talk Sport.
Talk Radio, the fast-moving radio station for a rapidly changing news landscape.
We must all make sure we do not risk a second spike.
Up to the second breaking news and the latest advice from the experts in their field.
And what we're doing is we're putting our own people at risk.
Up to the minute reaction to current events.
Is this going to work? Are we really all going to download this app?
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
Celebrating 20 years of Talk Sport. They said it wouldn't work.
What, you want to know what I want to say?
Sometimes it didn't.
Serious? You like that?
But somehow it did.
And wrongdoing by the US government.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of Talk Sport.
Well, at one stage, we feared for Leicester when Manchester City took an early lead, and they looked far, far stronger. But my word, did the Foxes hit back.
Penalty.
Yeah, it's a really enjoyable first half of football, Kit. I think I summed it up there at the end, didn't I? You know, a half of two halves. I would have thought Brendan Rodgers by far the happier coach right now.
I think so, yeah. And after, about 15 minutes of the game, 20 minutes maybe, he was looking quite despondent at times. But then the sort of balance of power shifted, and they became much more of a threat. As we spoke about, Man City maybe got a little bit frustrated because for all their possession, there weren't too many chances. There was a Sterling shot at the near post. Good play, link-up play between Mahrez, De Bruyne and Sterling, gets a shot away, but it's quite tame. Header from Fernandinho from a De Bruyne free kick that was a bit behind him. Yeah. And that's about it. And obviously the offside header
goal,
as well.
Yeah, from Rodri.
From Rodri, that was clearly offside. Yeah. And that's it. So for all their possession and, nice passing here and there, they've not worked Kasper Schmeichel enough, and Leicester were looking dangerous on the counter going down the other end, and City rode their luck a couple of occasions, and then eventually that luck ran out.
I mean, the one thing that City are lacking, we got that question in, didn't we, about the bench? Should Guardiola need it? is he brave enough? Is it the right call? I mean, maybe not yet, but at some point to go, well, we're going to have to just thrust Liam Delap on. He's that striker that we're missing. You know, we've talked about Foden. He's done absolutely nothing. Exactly. Do they need the focal point?
Well, I think they've got to try something else, because the back three from Leicester have done very, very well. And on occasions, one of them might go out wide, but the other two just stay within the width of the post. And any crosses, any balls coming in, they're dealing with it very comfortably, and they're defending very, very well. Whereby, say that the Manchester City centre halves and back four in general, they're getting pulled about a little bit and stretched and looking vulnerable. So I think Manchester City need to do something different. It said Foden's not done great. Sterling is better from that left-hand side coming in. We know that, you know. So why not try young Delap down the middle and put Sterling out wide and give Foden a rest? Having said that, of course, the one thing we know about Pep Guardiola is he is not a man for changing. He sticks to his principles wherever possible. A stubborn man in many ways. That's fair enough. We've got another game for you coming up this evening after this one. West Ham facing Wolves. Andrew Self and Hogan Ephraim will be bringing you full commentary of that one, and it's a fascinating one in particular because David Moyes will not be on the touchline for West Ham. He will still, though, be organising things, watching from afar. It's apparently because he's got a sore throat. We can hear now from David Sullivan, one of the co-owners of West Ham, talking about his manager. A sore throat, he says, but it's not coronavirus, it's down to shouting in training.
All the players are fine. I mean, they've got slightly sore throats. I mean, the manager actually is in fine form this morning. He has had a slight sore throat for a couple of days, but he just put it down to the fact he shouts a lot. He's very much a hands-on manager and coach, and he is on the training pitch screaming and shouting. And he said, look, I do get a sore throat occasionally, so I thought nothing of it. And it's just a minor sore throat. Hopefully it gets no worse, and I think he has to self-isolate for 10 days under the guidelines.
Well, I suppose that makes sense, doesn't it? I'm sure he'll be tested, and they'll be able to get him back in at West Ham sooner rather than later. We can also hear now from the manager of Newcastle, who got a very late draw thanks to a penalty against Tottenham earlier. Another one of those controversial handballs, and it's got to be said, even the Newcastle boss Steve Bruce didn't really think his side deserved it.
The boy Dyer has jumped for the ball, he's got his back to play, but his arm's up, and your arm's going to be up if you're jumping, you know. So we've got away with one today. I would be absolutely livid if it was against us, you know, but as I said, we maybe have to look at the rules because it's ruining the spectacle. We don't want it. The Premier League is a fantastic audience. People enjoy watching all around the world. If we're not careful, we'll spoil it.
Do you agree with him, Kit?
I do, absolutely. I mean, we're seeing some, in my opinion, what are horrific decisions. Penalties being given, but then also, the flip side, there's a few not being given. You know, Gabriel for Arsenal, that was a stonewall penalty for me.
Nobody knows the rule, do they?
Well, that's the thing, is so much confusion. And, you know, Dyer today, he had his back turned, as Steve Bruce said correctly, and that's the opposing manager. You know, he jumped, so your arm's going to come up as you're in the process of jumping. That's a natural movement, and he's got his back to it, so he's no idea. He's not deliberately handballed it by any stretch. So now I know that within the rules that's penalty, but the rules need to change.
It's the rule that's the problem. That rather than, we can't sit here and say the referee's got that one wrong.
No, and that's where it's so hard and so difficult for referees, because they're getting all the stick, and you know, a lot of the time it's down to the actual rules, but they needs to be clarified and made clear what the rules are, and then also the rules need to be right. I mean, at the moment the rule is not, in my opinion, and most people that have played the game and love the game, people don't want to see what's happening at the moment.
No. Well, that's the voice of Kit Simons, who'll be alongside me, Toby Gillis, for the second half of Manchester City against Leicester. Nothing controversial about this one so far. Brilliant goal from Riyad Mahrez, and a stone wall penalty, we should point out, from which Jamie Vardy equalised. Fantastic, and the second half's to come here on Premier League Live.
Evenings
Weeknights with James Whale on Talk Radio. Keep connected with round-the-clock news, essential information and expert insight.
I think we've got to be very careful about the way this has all been going on.
Cutting through the confusion with everything you need to stay safe, informed and entertained.
Everyone's going on about, we should be tracking and testing, and I just don't know how that is going to happen.
Evenings with James Whale. Weeknights from 7 on Talk Radio.
In a world of 24/7 global sportscasting and instant news infotainment, one man bestrides the airwaves like a snow-capped Caledonian colossus.
Hello, I'm Jim White.
Jim White, anchorman.
Mid-morning news team, assemble.
Jim White and Natalie Sawyer, the #1 rated news source for breaking sports stories, big-name guests, and liquid showbiz charisma.
Great Odin's Ravens. That's quite a transfer.
There's nothing burgundy about Jim White. Tomorrow morning from 10 on TalkSport.
In the spring of the year 2020 AD, a deadly enemy rages like a torrent of fire between the ends of empire.
My name is Maximus Sportus Pandemicus, gladiator of the sports radio. Gird up your loins and battle the invasion of COVID-19, because what you do today will echo in eternity.
TalkSport Legion, assume tortoise formation against COVID-19.
Show this virus no mercy by keeping a distance of at least 2 meters at all times. That's 6.75 Roman feet centurions. Together, Legion, TalkSportus can defeat it.
TalkSportus Maximus.
On my signal, unleash hand sanitizer.
Keep it on, stay informed, and give coronavirus the red cardus.
Are you not hand sanitized?
20 years of TalkSport.
Gentlemen, good evening.
There's no such thing as an overnight success.
Accrington Stanley 4, titanium plasmatronic death droids from the future, 0.
Excess.
I wasn't getting up, I was just getting in.
Excitement.
Excuse me,
and extremely strong opinions.
I spend my life covering the big game at the big level.
On DAB, medium wave, and on your smart speaker. 20 years of TalkSport.
For all the latest news, opinions, and advice, listen to Talk Radio throughout the day and stay informed as events unfold.
We're now in a position to start implementing the next part of our plan.
Find out what's happening now and what may happen next, all day, every day.
If the government gets to grips with the plan, then surely we will be able to see light at the end of the tunnel.
Listen now on DAB Digital Radio, online, via the Talk Radio app, or ask your smart speaker to play Talk Radio.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Manchester City against Leicester City from the
I think in that first half, I think City had just shy of 75% possession, which is phenomenal. But then it had one actual shot on target, which was from Sterling, and then a header from a free kick, and that's it. So the defensive shape and the low block, as you say, is working. And also, we spoke about, they're not using that much energy by just being so deep and compact. So it's not like it's something they're going to have to change because they're going to tire. And like I say, they certainly look dangerous on the counter-attack then, and it plays into the hands with Jamie Vardy, Harvey Barnes, the likes of that running forward, and Man City do look a little bit vulnerable to that. So yeah, I don't think Brendan, it's fascinating how two very, very contrasting styles of football, and we're not really sure which one's going to come out on top.
No, Pep Guardiola sits back down in his seat, furrowed brow, wondering how this second period will play out. Manchester City 1, Leicester 1. No changes for either of the two sides. It's Leicester in their maroon, very, very dark red kit that get us underway, shooting from left to right, quickly launch the ball into the Manchester City half. It comes away and City can break very quickly here with De Bruyne, and suddenly it's 4-on-3, and there's De Bruyne going for goal from the left. He was always stretching for that ball, I think, and he's dragged it wide. So quickly as the goal kick will be taken, I can run you through the sides. For Manchester City, it's Ederson in goal, Kyle Walker, Eric Garcia, Nathan Ake, Benjamin Mendy, Rodri and Fernandinho, Mahrez, De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling and Phil Foden. For Leicester, Schmeichel, then a back three, and Marty Soyuncu and Evans, Castagna right, Justin left, Mendy, Pratt and Tielemans in the midfield, and Barnes supporting Vardy up front, the Leicester goal scorer. Away by Schmeichel, on by Marty, and here's Soyuncu underneath that one. And now he picks up the second ball, can't get it past Rodri. There's Mendy trying to clear, and there's a foul on Rodri, who's rolling around after the challenge that came in on him by, was that Soyuncu's challenge?
Yeah, Soyuncu. Yeah, he came out with the ball again. We saw a couple of times in the first half. He loves to come out with it, but he just gave it away and then tried to make up for his own mistake, and absolutely clattered Rodri there and caught his ankle. So yeah, booking, I think it's fair enough. Nothing worse than that.
He's turning into a fine defender, though, isn't he, Soyuncu? And he's got that marauding run forward. I'm not suggesting he's quite got the class of Vincent Kompany, but we did used to see that sort of defending at the Etihad from Kompany, didn't we?
He's done, as you say, he's certainly sort of developed and matured and become sort of more comfortable with the Premier League style of play, and it does take some getting used to, but he now looks very comfortable in it. He's got that little switch every now and then. He can be a little bit rash, but that's certainly come right out of his game for me. I think there was a lot of that previously. Very occasionally now he's a little bit rash there to get the booking, but that's part of his strength as well, if you like, his competitiveness, but can still do the odd thing here and there.
24 years of age now, the former Freiburg defender. I just wonder whether he has got that other level in him as well. I mean, we've seen Ake make that step up now to Manchester City. Could he get a move to a club like City at some point, do you think, Soyuncu?
Yeah, I think potentially. I mean, he's kept on improving this, and he looks like he's continuing to improve as well. Like I say, he did have a little bit this erratic streak in him, but I think he's sort of ironing that out of his game, if you like. There's still a very small element of it, but he's improved massively. But I mean, Leicester certainly won't want to let him go.
It would be another one of those summers where someone would have to battle them for him, like Chilwell with Chelsea or Maguire with Manchester United, or indeed, they had to wait an extra year, didn't they, to get Mahrez in at Manchester City.
Exactly.
Such was the difficulty. They tend to sell one a summer, don't they? They've done theirs one for this summer. Maybe Soyuncu will be one for the future. Rodri dinks it, lovely little ball out to the right, delicate to Mahrez into De Bruyne, and his cross is deflected behind. Schmeichel couldn't prevent the corner, and Manchester City will take.
You mentioned it in the first half, Toby, about because at the start of the game, Mahrez was coming in field and Walker was bombing right on, really high and wide on that right hand side. But after about sort of 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes, Walker started coming in field, and Mahrez is keeping his width a bit more now.
Mahrez will take this corner from the right, the Manchester City right. Vardy is the first man, books it away from the left edge of his 6-yard box, throw in to Manchester City. Tom Solly has got in touch, listening to you on the drive to the beach. Go Leicester City. Send us a pic of the beach, make us jealous.
Yeah, we're not jealous at all, Toby, are we?
De Bruyne, ball into the box, uncharacteristically wayward. Behind it goes. Manchester City 1, Leicester 1. Toby Gillis and Kit Simons on the mic. And, Leicester have survived longer in the second half than they did in the first. And very quickly, Pep Guardiola has signalled to Liam Delap that it is time to strip off and make your Premier League debut.
Fantastic for the young lad. I know I know an old boy will be very happy in his dad Rory. Fantastic opportunity for him.
But they might be behind before that happens, because Pratt has a chance to get it across to Vardy. It was just behind him, and on the stretch Walker gets it away, and here comes De Bruyne fighting with Amati. And what's interesting, I think, as Amati goes into the referee's notebook, Amati's gone into midfield, I think, with James Justin moving to the left side of the back three, or was that just for that?
I think it was just for that phase, yeah. I mean, you saw a couple of moments earlier that back three are trying to keep as tight and as solid as possible. He's possibly the only one who maybe gets, well, both wide players, both wide of the back three will go out into wider areas, but then the other one will come in very narrow. It's Fernandinho coming off, which is a bit of a surprise.
It is, presumably. That means either De Bruyne or Foden dropping a little deeper, possibly De Bruyne, to dictate things. And what a moment for young Liam Delap. Proper striker. He's just 17 years, 232 days old. Manchester City's fourth youngest ever Premier League player. And as Kit says, his father Rory had quite a distinguished career in the Premier League as well. Scored 18 minutes into his Manchester City debut, did Liam Delap, against Bournemouth in the week. And should he get on the goal scoring list today, as he tries to get on the end of this cross from Mendy, which is into the arms of Schmeichel, and he would indeed become their youngest ever Premier League goal scorer, quite considerably younger than the previous one, Micah Richards, believe it or not, who was 18 years and 98 days old when he scored his first league goal for Manchester City. Mendy's been caught there high up the field, and there's the shot from Mahrez. A little bit selfish, I'd have thought, when he had runners ahead of him from 20 yards out from Mahrez. It was won by Rodri. Mahrez took it on left foot, scuffed it a bit. Nothing quite like the contact from the first half, from which he did score. Still one apiece.
Well, have to be careful, Leicester. I mean, he got caught on the ball there, Mendy, and it wasn't a foul. The referee made a very good decision and played on, but they're taking chances very deep, and they have to be careful of that, because City can punish, and if they get too many opportunities, will punish you.
Amati gets the header on towards Pratt. He'll pick it up again when it comes back at him, but his touch lets him down. Rodri takes it off of him. Here's Mahrez asking Ake to backtrack into the left back position. His clearance is headed forward by Amati. Now here's Castagna to Tielemans, up to Castagna again. Can he get the cross into Vardy? Oh, he's flicked it past Edison. Wonderful from Jamie Vardy, whose streak against Manchester City gets better and better and better. 2 for Vardy, 2 for Leicester. They've come from behind. Manchester City 1, Leicester 2.
What an absolutely incredible finish, but really, really good play. Great link-up play. But again, Man City just getting caught all over the place. But still, the ball comes in, it's behind Jamie Vardy. Great cross from Castagna, not much better he could do there. But the finish from Jamie Vardy is exquisite. It's like a little back heel, but he actually flicks it up as well from behind his black leg. It's brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant. That is an absolute quality goal, Jamie Vardy.
Last season's Premier League top scorer has certainly not lost it. 4 now for him, 2 braces in 3 games. And I'll tell you what, he scored a hat-trick against Manchester City before under Pep Guardiola, and now this is a real test of Manchester City.
It was interesting. I was just trying to say about, you mentioned about Amati as he stepped into midfield.
Yeah, he did win it in midfield, didn't he?
He's still playing as the third centre-back, but he's stepping out. He's coming out a lot more, being a lot more aggressive in his play than they were in the first half, and that helped lead to the goal. So really good play.
Here's Walker, centre of the field. Run down the right-hand side from Mahrez, nowhere close to finding him. Well, Pep Guardiola made the change, took off Fernandinho. We all know that he expects cover from his holding midfield players, and there was nobody there to stop Jamie Vardy. What a goal that is. Gets better each time you see it, doesn't it? it was sort of behind him, and he's somehow scooped it out with his instep, flicked it up, got it over Ederson, and Castagna scored in the first game of the season away from home against West Brom, and he's got a crucial assist in this one today.
Again, from a Leicester point of view, excellent play, but you look at the Man City defending, and you're like people not going with runners. There's too big a gaps between full-back and centre-half.
Going to come back to the goalkeeper, and it's bowled out to Foden, lost out again. Here's Amati. Foden wins it off of him. Rodri goes long out to the right-hand side, looking for Mahrez. Great take. Justin dealt with him brilliantly. It's getting better and better, James Justin. Every time I see him, he's played left, he's played right. I've seen him on the in the back three as well. He's happy to get forward. Got his first goal for the club. Oh, as Eric Garcia brings down Jamie Vardy. It's another penalty. Another penalty for Leicester.
No guesses who's going to take this, by the way, but brilliant play from Leicester again. But it just gets back to my point. Man City are all over the place. But it came from, as you mentioned, brilliant defending. Really nice slip pass from Harvey Barnes again.
No complaints, is there? Penalty.
He just didn't know. Garcia didn't know Vardy was coming in, so he goes to play the ball, and Vardy nips in front of him, and he catches him quite clearly. But again, it's Vardy in between the two centre-backs. Neither one are really marking him. He's got in between them, and Garcia didn't know he was there, went to play the ball, but Jamie Vardy got there just first.
He scored 2 penalties against West Brom on the opening day of the season. In their second away game of the season, he's got a second penalty. The first one, he went into the top corner. If he does that again, that's unsavable. But he's also got the option of doing something else. This time he's glanced up. He didn't do that last time. Here he comes, Vardy against Ederson. Exactly the opposite, from top left to bottom right, but the outcome's the same. Ederson can't make the save. Jamie Vardy has a hat-trick against Manchester City at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Leicester 3.
Again, you just fancy him to score because he hits them with such power. He's very precise, but he strikes it really cleanly. And even if the keeper gets a slight touch, you think the power's going to beat him anyway. But another very, very good penalty. Great play from Leicester. I mean, City are not going to be very happy with this whatsoever. Pep's going to be spitting feathers, but you can't take away from Leicester. They've looked really, really dangerous, created some excellent chances, and caused Manchester City all sorts of problems.
I don't want to get too excited, Kit, but the last time Leicester won their first 2 games of the season, they won the league. The last time they won at Manchester City, they won the league. They won it by 3-1. By the way, Mahrez scored in that game as well, but it was for Leicester. It's a bit early to say, isn't it?
Well, it is, but listen, they're looking good. They're a strong outfit. We said about they're a strong team on the pitch, but they've got a really good bench as well. The squad is improving all the time. Listen, they're a very good side, and they fell away last year. And I think were really hurt and disappointed.
Yeah, they had a lot of injury troubles themselves, didn't they?
They did, really. But the way they fell away, like I say, people would have, I think, expected them to get a European spot. So that was disappointing, but they'll be keen not to let that happen again this year.
Yeah, Europa League only this season as Raheem Sterling delivers a ball into the box towards DelaTv. Couldn't quite find him. Ake knocks it back towards the edge of the box. De Bruyne trying to juggle with it. Ake's won it, but illegally with the foul on Tielemans. Slightly high boot as he caught him there. And it's a booking for Ake.
Yeah, a little bit of frustration coming in now from the Man City players. He's a little bit unfortunate, Ake, because he raises his foot but gets his foot on the ball, but then the follow through catches Tielemans a little bit. Obviously these days you can't do that at all. So yeah, booking's fair enough, but there's no malice in it whatsoever. Like I say, I thought at the time a little bit of frustration, but I'm not even sure it was that, if I'm perfectly honest, Toby. I think he cleanly went to try and win the ball, and it's just a bit unfortunate.
Slightly high, yeah. I mean, Pep Guardiola, we know all about his genius, but he freely admits he needs top quality players, both in terms of intelligence and being able to actually carry it out, to do the job that he asks of them. He freely admits it, and at the moment, with the bench he's got, he doesn't have those players available to him to try and change this game. It's now down to, well, either playing some youngsters or this team that's currently out there. And it was a surprise, wasn't it? I mean, it sounded to me like there was a bit of an expression of surprise in your voice when we realised it was Fernandinho coming off for DelaTv. He's lost that protection, and since that point they've conceded twice.
Well, that's right. We said at the top of the programme that, you know, the Man City defence last season has looked a bit fragile, and a bit weak at times almost. So they want those two holding midfield players to protect the back four. So suddenly you take one of them off, and Fernandinho, who's the most experienced of the two as well, albeit, you know, getting on a little bit in years. But it now changes the dynamic completely. And
Leicester driving into the box. There's De Bruyne up towards Sterling. Easy away for Leicester. Sorry, Kit. It was. It's one of those, isn't it, for City, where you think, how many points, given Liverpool's extraordinary totals of the last two seasons, how many points can they risk dropping if they want to win the league this season? It really is that simple.
Well, it is, and looking at, you know, how Liverpool has started this season and how they did last year, not too many is the answer to that. You know, I think this will be, if this stays the same and they end up losing this game, straight away they're on the back foot.
Walker decides to go for goal from distance. Pretty easy save that one, diving down to his left by Kasper Schmeichel. And he is readying another kid. Is Pep Guardiola. So he's not scared to throw them in. We wait to see.
Well, I think it's got to the stage, Toby, like 62 minutes gone, 3-1 down. They're not really creating too much.
No, as De Bruyne can't find Foden with that pass, deflects back to the goalkeeper. And here is Johnny Evans to the Belgian Tielemans, who's passed to Pratt, played him into trouble. Manchester City have it back. Here's Mendy to De Bruyne, Rodri to the left hand side, and Mendy. There's Mendy's cross towards DelaTv. Oh, he's hit the bar. Good header that. It was looping towards goal, and it clips the top of the crossbar and goes over.
Yeah, really good header. It's a decent ball in from Mendy, but he's still got an awful lot to do, DelaTv. And bearing in mind he's up against Soyuncu, it's pulled off of Johnny Evans, up against Soyuncu, who's very strong in the air. He gets his head to it first, and he gets a decent header on, just clips the top of the bar, but good opportunity.
Substitution has been made. It's Ferran Torres, the 20-year-old, who replaces the similarly aged Phil Foden. So can the former Valencia man make an impact? He did play last week against Wolves for 9 minutes. Got 90 minutes in the week under his legs in the League Cup. As he tries to adapt quickly to English football, he's immediately moved over to the left-hand side as Leicester play the ball long. Ederson diving outside of his area to head it away. And here come Manchester City now. Ball into DelaTv, heavy touch, runs him into Tielemans. He's a big old boy, is DelaTv. Tielemans slipping in, Pratt down the right hand side. Ake gets across brilliantly to slide it into touch, but just for a moment there it looks as if Pratt might be away to deliver another ball into Vardy. Yeah. He's looking exhausted.
He does. He'll be taking a match ball over him, I know that much, and he won't be too worried about being absolutely worn out by the end of this game, certainly if this scoreline stays the same. He's been brilliant again today, Jamie Vardy. First half, he had 8 touches, one of them being a penalty. But he looks such a threat, you know, and they conceded possession. They're happy to give Man City 75% possession almost, but knowing they would look such a threat.
At some point, his age is going to have to catch up with him, isn't he? And he's not going to be able to play 90 minutes every single game. And at that point, you think, how do Leicester cope when they do have to wrap him in cotton wool a little bit?
Well, that point looks like it's a little bit of a way off yet, because he's looked such a threat today. Except for the fact
he's blowing so much right now. That's all I mean. But look, at the moment he's done his damage, hasn't he? Sterling runs into Johnny Evans.
Well, see, I think Brendan will gladly take him off after 65, 70 minutes if he can score a hat-trick in that time. So You know, all the time he's causing damage like this, I think they've got to protect him and look after him without doubt. I get your point, Toby, and it's correct.
And Iheanacho can score goals at the Premier League. Look, he's not Jamie Vardy, but I mean, there was one stage where he really looked the business for Manchester City, didn't he, Iheanacho? Very early in his career.
He did. He threatened to kick on and was coming off the bench and scoring a few goals and
enough
looking
that
dangerous.
Some of the City fans were upset that he was sold. Put it that way.
But then I think they'll probably look at it now. Yes. How's he done since? He's done all right at Leicester, but probably only all right, really.
Run by Manchester City's Torres down the right-hand side. He just tried to run through Justin, couldn't do so. Soyuncu hacks clear up towards halfway. Vardy wins the header above Garcia. Kyle Walker read the danger up against his former England teammate. And it's worth saying that there is a rather distinguished masked man at the Etihad today who will be watching Jamie Vardy thinking, can we? And that is Gareth Southgate, the England manager, who might also be quite impressed with Harvey Barnes today, who I think has done all right and has won the penalty as well, the second penalty.
I think he's done well, Harvey Barnes. He's looked a real threat, and it just looks like he's holding his groin a little bit, Jamie Vardy.
Ball in by De Bruyne to Sterling at the back post, who just couldn't quite get up. It was really fizzed all the way across from deep, and Sterling got up well, watched it all the way, but puts his header wide.
Yeah, he's a little bit unlucky there. A brilliant ball in, loads of pace on it, really, really good ball in, but just slightly above Sterling, who's never going to quite be able to get up and get above the ball to guide it back. But decent ball.
Leicester's first change is going to be James Maddison as he continues his comeback from long injury. Vardy, I just wonder whether there's something wrong with him. He's holding his groin, isn't he?
Yeah, his right groin. He's been holding that for a few minutes now. Like you say, I think it might be a little bit of my work here is done. You know, I've scored a hat trick. I've done the business today.
He's coming off, isn't he? And he's hobbling. He's not happy.
I think didn't they have someone else down as well, Leicester? It looked like at the time, but it certainly looked. I can't see him staying on any longer. Jamie Vardy
He's
here now.
Not. He's just come over for a drink, I think. Yeah, it's Dennis Pratt that's down. Yeah, I think he's the man that'll be coming off. Pratt, actually. Vardy's. It's just the way that he looked so resigned as he was walking over to the near side for this drink while Pratt's receiving treatment.
Normally, if he was concerned, he'd be then talking to the physios and things like that. But he's not. I don't think he's spoken to anyone. But he clearly was holding the right side of his groin. So, and you know, get back to your point of a few minutes earlier, Toby. They need to look after him because already 5 goals in the Premier League. He's got off to an incredible start, even better than where he left off last season.
Yes.
And he didn't do bad there. Let's get it right with the golden boot. So they're going to want to make sure he's okay for the upcoming games.
I mean, actually, after lockdown, and really since Christmas, it's not been amazing for him. He only had 8 goals in the 22 games since Christmas prior to today. So 2020 hasn't actually been his best year, but my word, has he put that right today. Here's Torres inside his own half. Leicester really just grew in belief over the course of this game. Big time, and they've got a decent couple of fixtures to come after this one as well. If they could make it 3 wins today in a row, you could see them getting to 5 because they've got West Ham and Villa at home next before they go to Arsenal, then Leeds away, both of those away, Wolves at home and Liverpool away.
And in football, momentum is such an incredible thing. Once that gets building, and listen, at the moment, if they can carry on in this same form and finish this game off today and get a win away to Manchester City, then suddenly, like you say, if it becomes 5 wins in the opening 5 games, wow.
Well, it's quite simple. Right now, they're going top of the table, joining up with Everton with a 100% record from 3 games and the best goal difference. And they've probably been the best team in the Premier League so far, haven't they? Let's make no bones about it, Leicester. However impressed you've been with Everton, I don't think you could argue with that. Arsenal might say something about it too. Even Liverpool, we've seen their weakness at times in the game against Leeds, and Leicester haven't looked like they've got one at the moment. Guardiola billowing some instructions. He's probably made the 2 changes he might have thought realistically. he might want to. The rest, Zinchenko not fully fit. How much change does that make? Laporte ditto. And the other two, Tommy Doyle or Cole Palmer. I'll forgive you if you ask who they are. I've had to look them up myself. Walker shepherds a ball out of play in the right back position to Garcia. Man with the skull cap on. Garcia out towards the inside right position. Here's De Bruyne. De Bruyne bending the ball towards Sterling, just ahead of the England man, and that one's behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, brilliant run from Sterling. Just gets in front of Castagna, which is a little bit similar to the penalty that Jamie Vardy won for Leicester, but just the ball's just running away from him, unfortunately. But a really, really good run from Raheem Sterling. A bit unlucky there. And again, him now playing out on this left end side where he's a bit more comfortable. He looks more of a threat. He did fine when he was down the middle, and I thought he's had a decent game, to be honest. But I think he's just more of a threat out in that wide area coming in.
Just seen a couple of times now. Liam Delap's first touch not quite the best as Ederson comes out. His clearance is poor, only to Mendy. Now here comes Barnes for Leicester. Barnes driving at the Manchester City defence, and if it's shot up in either side of Ederson, he might well have troubled him. Instead he gathers it to his chest.
They just opened up there for him again. Manchester City looking so vulnerable, and they're like, they brought on Fernand Torres, who's not really tracking back. I think Pep probably said to him, listen, stay a bit higher at the pitch, look to counter, because he certainly didn't get back in, and he had acres, Harvey Barnes, to run at the Man City defence. Yeah, and he'd been a bit disappointed he's not gone either side of the keeper there, because it was a good opportunity, and it's like the parting of the waves.
I mean, let's make no mistake, since Manchester City took the lead, Leicester could have thrashed them. They've had chance after chance after chance.
No, they have. Exactly like I think City have had the one shot on target, the actual shot, the one header comfortably saved, and one shot from Sterling, and that's been it.
The other one that hit the bar from Delap.
The header from Delap, second half, and that's been it. So, and Leicester have had numerous chances, like you say.
De Bruyne into Mahrez. Thought about shooting from distance, instead to the left-hand side for Raheem Sterling. Steps over it a couple of times, crosses away by Evans. Rodri picks up, now Mendy. That's, again, too close to the goalkeeper. You talk about the quality from the left, it's not come there.
I've got to say, Johnny Evans has been excellent today. Absolutely excellent. He's really marshalled that back three. So Chuncho and Amati, either side of him, have both done really well as well. But I think Johnny Evans' experience and the way he's organised and marshalled that defence has been brilliant today from a Leicester point of view.
At TalkSport Live, if you've got a thought on this, we laughed when a couple of people tweeted in, didn't we, and suggested Leicester might score a hatful today.
We got 4-2, was it? 4-2?
Yeah, and a 5-4 Leicester, I think we saw at one point. Here's Walker coming forward, drills across the 6-yard box. It was either behind or in front of everyone in light blue. Throw into... Oh, it must have taken a deflection. Throw into Manchester City. Mendy to De Bruyne. Tries the reverse ball into Sterling. Cut out by Maddison, who runs into two blue shirts. Back. Heels it away and then is brought down. Free kick to Leicester. What a ball that was from Walker. Behind Delap. Sterling hadn't made the run.
No, I think, to be fair to young Delap, he's looked to get across the front, which you generally ask your striker to do, to try and take the defence in, and you're looking for someone to come in behind you, but Sterling didn't quite gamble on that one.
Long ball forward again, looking for Castagna, who just got crowded out by too many blue shirts.
He's had a good game as well, mind, for Leicester, Castagna today.
De Bruyne now, high up on the right-hand side. One more outside of him is Ferran Torres. Walker. What about the early cross? Waiting for some options. Gets it in the shape of Mahrez. Walker. Mahrez. Three dark shirts around him. Mahrez. What was that? Cross to nobody. Out of play, goal kick.
We spoke earlier, Toby, about Man City potentially playing sort of lopsided a little bit, and Leicester are sort of doing that really. I mean, Justin on the left-hand side has defended very well, but not really got forward to any great extent, I don't feel, today. But Castagna has been up and down. He's put in some great crosses, some real good forward play, and he's been very offensive as a right wing back. And they've been a little bit lopsided, and on the left-hand side, Justin's been a little bit more defensive. So again, you can balance it off, and it can work very well to your effect.
Okay, underneath the clearance for Schmeichel, and Rodri tries to bend the ball out to De Bruyne, but Justin read it really well and is already over the halfway line. Gives it to Maddison. Maddison back out to Justin. Out to Nampalys Mendy. Well, they've taken out 2 blue shirts with that pass, and here goes Maddison moving in from the left. Shoot! Absolutely wonderful goal from James Maddison to send Leicester 4-1 up at the Etihad in front of Gareth Southgate. A timely reminder of the talents of the brilliant, outstanding James Maddison. Manchester City 1, Leicester 4, 3 points wrapped up, and there's still more than 13 minutes to play.
Well, if we thought Mahrez's strike was good in the first half, I think it's just been beaten by this one. That was absolutely brilliant play. Nothing on, he's so far out. I don't think Man City really thought he's surely not going to shoot, but he did. He has a look, he weighs it all up, and he bends it with great pace, and it's again right in the far corner over the outstretched Ederson's arm, and it's absolutely brilliant.
It was in from the moment it left his foot. What a goal.
We've seen some real quality in this game today, and you've got to say most of it has come from Leicester City.
Signed a new contract in the summer, and Leicester fans will be thinking we've got 4 more years of watching that. He's still only 23 as Manchester City deliver the ball in. Schmeichel punches it away from Delap. De Bruyne fighting for it, so is Rodri. It's going to come away, and here go Leicester again. Tielemans, perfect pass to Vardy. Has he got the pace to get away from Garcia? He has, but not to get away from Kyle Walker, who got it back to Ederson and is now back in possession coming forward. Manchester City getting hammered at home.
See, that's the thing with Kyle Walker. When he's back in that position, he's got such great recovery pace. He can get his centre-backs, his other fellow defenders, out of trouble. But when he's so high up the pitch, he just can't do that. That's impossible, as quick as he is. So, you know, on that occasion, he would have been away. Vardy would have been away again against Garcia. Yeah. But because Walker was there, he was able to deal with it. So they're sort of almost caught between a rock and a hard place a little bit.
This tells you everything. Manchester City, 4-1 down, are bringing on a centre-back. They're bringing on Aymeric Laporte, who, without last season, they had a nightmare. They conceded 0.4 goals a game when Laporte was on the pitch in the Premier League last season, all too rarely. 1.2 goals per game conceded when he was not there. And he missed so much of it with a knee injury. Just made 14 starts last season. Johnny Evans, who's had a magnificent game coming back from both injury and suspension today, is hobbling off. Christian Fuchs has come on, who did play left side of a back three in the Cup in the week.
Yeah, I would think he'll go to that position. Soyuncu will just go into the middle and take up the role that Evans has done so well. But he limped off. I mean, you hope it's nothing, you know, not a recurrence. I think he had a slight niggle coming into this game on top of his suspension. But he's been excellent. He's been really good. And as I said, marshalled that defence for Leicester to...
Looks like Fuchs has gone out onto the left-hand side with Justin joining in on the right of the centre-back trio. Here's Sterling right side of the area, just drills it across. There would have been nobody there even if it had reached anybody. Mendy and Nampalys Mendy to clear. Now here's De Bruyne from the clearance into Rodri. Rodri to the right-hand side. Can they get a good cross in from Torres? It up in the air via the deflection off of Fuchs, headed into the box, couldn't find DelaTv, away by Soyuncu. De Bruyne's had one of his quietest games in a Manchester City shirt as Walker drills from 30 yards out, blocked again by Soyuncu, and De Bruyne now back on halfway. So quiet today, De Bruyne. All of them really. Sterling, Foden when he was on, Mahrez really, bar the goal.
No, that's right, they've just been completely stifled.
Torres to De Bruyne, who tries the bending shot with his right foot from 19 yards out over the bar.
So like I say, certainly for a bit of a project or trying something with the three centre halves, it's worked to incredible effect. So I don't think Brendan Rodgers will be scared to do that away from home when they're going to one of the top 6 teams by any stretch, because it's worked incredibly well today, and they've looked a real threat, but also very, very solid defensively.
That, by the way, was James Maddison's first Premier League goal in 19 appearances. First one since New Year's Day. Goodness me, how the world's changed since New Year's Day.
No, that's not a bad way to break that duck, is it?
Absolutely.
It's an incredible goal. Wonderful strike.
Is Ferran Torres running at Fuchs, Premier League winner, of course, Fuchs with Leicester. This is the man that scored the hat-trick today, Jamie Vardy. De Bruyne, Mendy, inside left, De Bruyne. Can't even pass it past the man 3 yards beyond him. Does bounce back to him though. Here's Sterling. Mendy. Mahrez. Sterling making his way into the box. Just runs away from him. Mendy's brought down Mahrez right on the edge of the area. He's pointing to something. I'm sure he's not suggesting it was a penalty. He was definitely outside the box. It is right on the left of the D. In fact, they've just placed it just inside, so 19 yards out. The wall is 3 or 4 yards shy of the 6-yard box. It's a chance. It's a difficult one, isn't it, Kit, to get this up and down from such close range?
It is. It will really take some doing, but I mean, you look at the personnel that's standing over the ball. You've got Mahrez, you've got De Bruyne, you've got Sterling. So
some magicians and a half.
Difficult to do, but if anyone can do it, it looks like Mahrez is walking away from it.
Sterling fancies it.
Yeah, it looks like Sterling ahead of De Bruyne is going to. De Bruyne is very straight to this one, so it looks like it's going to be.
Unless it's one of those layoffs and then De Bruyne just smashes it. There's a 5-man wall. Here's Sterling, hits Vardy, behind it goes corner.
Yeah, he went for it, Sterling, but didn't really give it the full tilt, and awarded its job. Jamie Vardy, as well as scoring 3 goals, is now defending very well too.
West Ham against Wolves to come after this one, 7 o'clock UK time kickoff. Here's the Manchester City corner. Ake gets a goal back for Manchester City. Clean header, first goal for Manchester City for Nathan Ake. City 2, Leicester 4.
Yeah, good header. I think it was Maddison was marking him. Ake, and he just sort of shrugged him aside, ended up getting a free header. Really good header as well. Back the way it came, right into the corner. Obviously, no one on the post. So it's given Man City a glimmer of hope now with 6 minutes of regulation time to go.
They need another one quickly if they're to give us a grandstand finish. We're not getting too excited yet, but it's something to cling to. Leicester readying themselves another change. On will come Kelechi Iheanacho for Jamie Vardy. Hat-trick hero taken off. Fabulous performance. 2 penalties, 1 outstanding flick of his boot. 3 goals. He barely needs more than a touch per goal in a match. But that is the wrapping him in cotton wool that we've spoken about. Maybe just a little bit of an injury as well, as he hobbles slightly towards the near side. But in Kelechi Iheanacho, they've got someone a bit more physical maybe that can hold the ball up should they need it now.
Yeah, I mean, the only slight surprise with that substitution is that it wasn't done a little bit sooner, because he was, like I say, he was holding his groin. He'd already scored his 3 goals. And like you say, you set pieces, you need to defend properly at this stage, and you want someone a bit more physical. And they've made the sub now anyway.
Leicester deal with a cross from the right hand side by Torres, and Sterling fouls Tielemans. Goal goalkeeper will come and take this free kick. It's just another way of wasting a few more seconds, isn't it? 4-2.
Well, that's it. I think, without that wonder strike from Maddison, if the scoreline's still only with 3-2, then City would really fancy the chances. But I think that extra goal gives Leicester that bit of a cushion.
Don't give him the chance to hit the shot. That's what struck me. I mean, you're right in a way. They sort of thought, well, surely he's not going to score from there, but close him down.
No, well, they backed off. I mean, the pass Harvey Barnes did very well again, but they took 3 Man City players out of the game and very little recovery. So, that will be disappointing.
Tielemans manages to slip in Maddison again, and then he's brought him down.
Penalty
it's another penalty to Leicester. And it's a stonewaller for the 3rd time. This time Mendy
is the
villain.
Carbon copy of the penalty in the first half on the other side, where Jamie Vardy gets inside the fullback, that time Kyle Walker. This time Maddison gets inside Mendy, and he just gives him a little tug. It's again that stonewall penalty. Good play from Leicester, but poor defending from Man City. Poor defending.
Insanity from Mendy. This game without penalties would be 2-2. Potentially. We'll wait and see.
What's going to happen now? There's no Jamie Vardy to take it.
No, absolutely not. How he wishes that they'd kept him on for another minute. Oh, Pep Guardiola can't believe it. Mike Oliver's having a chat with the VAR. I can't see that that's not going to get given. David Cook is the video assistant today.
Tielemans is going to take this.
Yuri Tielemans, this time against Ederson. Different player, same outcome. Sends the keeper the wrong way this time. Manchester City 2, Leicester 5. Yuri Tielemans.
When was the last time Man City conceded 5 goals at home in the Premier League? It's incredible.
Oh, now you're asking.
Sorry, I didn't put you on the spot there, but I can't remember. Blimey. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, can't quite believe it. Absolutely amazing. But 3 penalties. You just can't give away 3 penalties in a game and expect to have any chance of winning it.
And
absolutely extraordinary.
We were talking about some of the soft penalties that have been given and how frustrating it can be, but these have all been stonewall. I don't think there can be any complaints about the awarding of the 3 penalties.
Absolutely amazing. 5-2 to Leicester. They were 1-0 down, remember?
We're thinking could be a long afternoon for Leicester. They'll want it to go on forever. They won't want the final whistle.
No, exactly. I mean, just to give you an idea, Manchester City scored 5 in 3 of their last 5 home games. They've now conceded 5. Just extraordinary what we're watching here today. I'm now going through the history books to see if I can find. They did concede 5 to Everton back in 1993. I'm taking that.
I'm just thankful you didn't say it was when I was playing. No. I had to suddenly panic up and I had a quick think. We got smashed away a few times. I remember one at Anfield. Blimey, not 5 at Main Road.
No. They've scored 5 plenty of times, I'll tell you. Arsenal back in 2003 won 5-1. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the last time.
Yeah, I would think so.
They've been some team ever since then. They're attacking down the right hand side at the moment. But really, I mean, the Ake goal just served to fire Leicester back up again. Off they went. Got another one. Is De Bruyne wanting some options, wanting some movement. De Bruyne smashes it against Maddison, gets it back edge of the area, trying to bundle his way forward. His international compatriot Tielemans takes it off of him, then Maddison gets the ball caught under his feet. He's Sterling left hand side. Mendy
There's been
back.
It's been an excellent team performance from Leicester, but there's been some outstanding individual performances. Tielemans has done really well. Johnny Evans was brilliant. The other 2 centre halves both done really, really well. See Jamie Vardy with a hat-trick. quick. There's been some brilliant individual performances within that team. Electric team performance.
Walker, high up the pitch on the right. Infield to Ferran Torres. Back to Garcia. Rodri. If this doesn't make them spend on centre halves, nothing will. Walker, maybe it's fullbacks though that they need, given who's given away the penalties. Mahrez to the near side. De Bruyne into Mahrez again, bundles his way up to the edge of the area, just runs into too many bodies. And Leicester get it away. Barnes can't find Fuchs. Here's Torres smashing it high over the crossbar. Goal kick for Leicester. A shell shock around, really.
Think back to about 15 minutes into the game, they were a goal down, and you're looking at Brendan Rodgers on the sideline. He looks exasperated, and he's waving his arms, and looks really sort of not sure what to do. Well, that seems an awful long time ago now.
Certainly does, yeah.
Certainly going to be one happy manager come this final whistle.
Confirmation that Arsenal performance was indeed the last time that Manchester City conceded 5 goals at home in the Premier League. Back on the 22nd of February 2003. Never let it be said that I don't do my homework. Want to hazard a guess who scored some of the goals that day? Not a difficult one.
Yeah.
Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Robert Pires, Patrick Vieira and Sol Campbell. A Manchester City team that had a number of players who probably wouldn't have got into this particular team, although Nicolas Anelka and Robbie Fowler played up front for them. Remember any of these? Richard Dunn, Steve Howie, Sun Ji Hai. All started that day for Manchester City. Decent players in their own right, but probably wouldn't get in a Pep team, I don't think. Maybe they would have done today. We've got 30 seconds of stoppage time left for play. De Bruyne. Out to the right for Walker. Rodri. Ferran Torres blocked by Fuchs. Great desire from the Leicester players to play right to the end. Minute left of stoppage time. Does he look wholeheartedly at his transfers now, Pep Guardiola, or is that a bit of an overreaction to one performance and all the injuries?
Well, I think the centre half is coming in no matter what. So it's whether they do anything more as well on top of that now. I don't know, but I think certainly a centre half is needed.
And a left back still.
Well, yeah, they just need to, like you say, if they bring in a top quality centre half, having seen this today, they may well go with Aki as a left back as well, which he can do. And he's got good pace, obviously, and decent quality. But no, he's certainly food for thought for Pep Guardiola, and
I still think back.
To say the least.
I still think back at 1-1, he took off Fernandinho for a striker.
Yeah.
There goes the full-time whistle. An extraordinary victory for Leicester City, who fell behind early on, but have overturned the deficit to absolutely pummel Manchester City. A Jamie Vardy hat-trick, a Brendan Rodgers masterclass, his first victory personally against Pep Guardiola. But this is all about a team that have gone top of the table. It's City, but it's not Manchester, it's Leicester. It's finished Manchester City 2, Leicester City 5 here on Premier League Live.
Well, if we thought Mahrez's strike was good in the first half, I think it's just been beaten by this one. That was absolutely